What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, guys, I'm going to be talking about how much it costs to maintain this car so far. How much have I put into the car, the cost of repair, and just about every work that I've done to this car so far. So that is the topic of this video. We're going to be talking about money. Talking about how much I put into the E90 so far since I bought it. Now, this is going to include the amount I paid for the car and the repair and all that good stuff. So, first thing first is I picked up the car around October of 2021 in Brooklyn for $5,000. The previous owner explained certain things that were wrong with the car at the time. Now, there are some things that he did not really disclose himself. Either maybe he didn't want me to know, or he wasn't being honest, or maybe he just didn't know, because there were simple things that were wrong with this car that he couldn't figure out, and his dad couldn't figure out, because from what he told me, him and his father was working on the car. You know, they installed the aftermarket parts, but when it came to the maintenance and when it came to understanding and reading codes and how to repair the car, I mean, to my knowledge, they didn't understand anything about that, or they only understand a little bit. Second thing was, as soon as I picked up the car, because I picked up the car around like 7, 8, 9 at night. It's just not a good time to go and buy a car, because you don't see every imperfections with the car. Because again, this is advice for people who you're going to buy a used car, used BMW, whatever it is. Make sure you meet the person during the day and not like during the night. You know, especially this being a white car, there's a lot of imperfection in the paint that I didn't really see because it was dark at night. It wasn't pitch black, but it was around 7, 8 p.m. So make sure you go look at the car during the day and not at night. It's one thing if you're going to a dealership or, you know, yeah. Anyway, first thing I did was I took the car to an exhaust shop, because the VRSF exhaust, the way that they installed it, the previous owner installed it, there's a bracket in the middle that they put up to hold the exhaust, like midway in the middle of the exhaust, and you're supposed to put something there that, when the car is running, like the exhaust doesn't vibrate against that metal, because right away I noticed the exhaust was too loud and there was so much vibration in the car due to that exhaust. It was coming from the middle where that bracket was, and it was coming from where the exhaust connects to the downpipe, or the mid pipe, the downpipe. So first thing I did the next day was I took it to an exhaust shop. I had the exhaust adjusted a little bit where, I wasn't getting all that noise in the cabin. The exhaust is already loud enough, and then imagine adding all that vibration on top of that. It was unbearable for me. So I spent about $100. That's the first thing I spent, $100 just for them to do that. Next thing I did was I got a code for cylinder 2 misfire. No, cylinder 3 misfire. I replaced spark plugs and a coil. One spark plug, one coil. Another thing is this car came with performance coil packs, but there was only 4 of them. So 2 of the performance coil packs are missing, and there's 4 performance coil packs and just 2 regular ones. So I'm thinking about just buying 2 more to replace it, just make it 6, or just leave it like that, whatever. Again, that cost me around $78. 78, around $78 to $80. And then the next thing I did was, I mean, I'm not gonna include like gas, oil, just buy. I mean, I can include that. You're right. I can include like the oil change and all that stuff. I'm not gonna include that. I'm not gonna include the oil change, the oil and stuff, coolant, windshield wiper fluids. I'm not gonna include those in the purchase because, I mean, it's not that significant. It's, but I paid for those. After that, I took the car to get inspected because the car was having like idle issues. It was like when I start the car, it would idle up and down, up and down, up and down. And in the beginning, I couldn't really figure out what was wrong with this car because the car kept throwing codes. The car kept throwing different codes. Like one day it'll throw a code for a throttle body. The next day it'll throw a code for the battery. And it was just very odd. And then the next day those codes would go away and then it would throw something else. And so I got really confused of what to do because I'm like, okay, so I go and buy a different part for the car and change that part, but that was not the issue. So, yeah, I went and got the, just for diagnosing, to a shop. They charged me about $150 just for a diagnosis. And then after that, I started having an issue with the transmission. Transmission would be very jerky, and sometimes it takes a very long time to like shift. And I'd be driving in like one gear and it's like, it won't shift. I'm like, I'm in automatic. I mean, it's an automatic transmission. So like, I'm like, yo, I know when like, it doesn't take this long for the car to shift into the next gear. So I started having issues with that. I made the horrible decision of taking the car on a 600 miles trip. And in the middle of that trip, I struggled. Like it took a trip that's supposed to take 5 hours, took about 10, 11 hours for me to get there. I drove all the way out to Maine, the state of Maine. And I had so much problem. I had to stop so many times because the transmission would just go into limp mode and the car would just stall. And I had to pull over to the side of the road, turn off the car, step back, and continue on my trip. So I had a lot of issues on the road. Like I had to stop probably over 30 times. Like it was so much because 1 minute the car would be running fine, and then all of a sudden when I'm in 5th gear, the car just stalled. So when I got to Maine, I got stranded out there due to the car. So I had to leave the car, come back to New York, and then pay for a shop out there to service the transmission. Now in the shop, these people were very, very dishonest when it came to fixing this car. Because I understand out here in New York, the shop rates are different. The prices for parts are a little different. But these people were very, I can't even find the words to say it, but they were not honest at all. And so the first major repair bill that I got for this car was for the transmission service, not to replace the transmission, but just to service the transmission. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this, I cover my personal information, but I'll show you guys a screenshot of the repair bill. But they charged me just to do the adaptation, sealing, gasket, screw, ATF fluid, labor, oil pan, and some other stuff that they didn't really list here. It just says miscellaneous shop supplies, screws and bolts. I understand that. I understand those things. They charged me $1,133.27. That was like the first major bill that I got for this car. Secondly, Anyway, after that, the transmission was running okay, but it was not 100%. So the shop tells me, oh, we fixed your car, but we are not guaranteed that it is going to be 100%. I'm like, I just spent like almost about $1,200, and you're telling me that my car is not 100%, my transmission is not 100%. So I was a little upset with them, but I didn't, lash it out at them. But again, the transmission worked enough. So I drove back another 500 plus miles from Maine. And when I got back, the transmission went back to what it was doing before. Like, it was worse than what it was before. On my way back to New York, it wasn't doing that. But when I got back to New York, everything just went, So I got fed up with this situation. So I took the car to a shop out here in New Jersey. Let me find the name of that shop really quick. I believe this is but I'm gonna put the name at the bottom of the screen here, or in the link down below, and even their Instagram. But they're located in Paterson, New Jersey. And I got the transmission replaced with a used transmission with a little under 60,000 miles. For about $1,200 in total, including parts and labor, and all that stuff, and fluids and stuff. And the transmission was, the new transmission working perfectly. Never had an issue with it since they did the transmission job. But again, I'm gonna put the list of all these things in the description down below. Next thing was I replaced the fog lights. I got repair stuff here. Fog light bulbs, the brake lights, they both went out. I replaced those. I did a coolant flush. Those are purchases, things that I paid for, that I didn't take to a major shop, but I had a buddy of mine do it for me, help me out, because it was brick outside, freaking cold. And I wasn't about to do that myself. So shout out to 135J. He goes by 130J, I think, _135J on Instagram. I'm going to put his Instagram down here and in the description box below. Go and give him a follow. He's a solid dude, and he knows his stuff. More experienced than I am when it comes to this stuff. But shout out to him. He helped me did a lot of the, other stuff, which I save a lot of money on. I would say I save money on that. He did the power steering flush, coolant flush, and some other stuff that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So, with that being done, again, the car started running a little better. But after that, I started having more issues. Again, this issue was I would start the car would die. Start the car idles a little bit and then just shuts off. So I took it to a shop close by. They took a look and they got a guy who diagnosed BMW, Audi, Mercedes, that's his thing. He came in, diagnosed the car, and told me that he was certain that the issue was the DME. In the meantime, there was the map sensor wire that connects to the intake was completely broken. That had to be repaired. That cost me about $350 plus the diagnosis. He charged me $150, and another $150 was charged for repairing the wire and just taking things out and putting them back. He told me the DME was the issue, so I went and ordered. I hit up this shop in New Jersey. They ordered a new DME. Cost me about $500 for the DME. Came in. I couldn't go with the dealer because they charged about $2,000 for a brand new DME, and I wasn't about to pay $2,000 for a DME and then pay another grand or two just to have it installed. That's ridiculous money. So Yeah, I took it to the second guy, and when they diagnosed the car, they replaced the DME program. The car was still having the same issues. And at this point, I was exhausted. I was like, I can't put no more money into this car. This car is like draining my wallet, and I ain't got money like that. Like, you know, I'm not the one to talk about my finances, because it's nobody's business unless I disclose it, unless I decided to talk about it. But it was too much more than what I was willing or expecting to put into this car. So anyway, but at this point, I was too deep. I went too far, and I wasn't about to give up. I'm not the kind of person where I like start something and then give up on it and just not finish it. So I continued. I kept going. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see this through. I'm gonna make sure this car is fixed, no matter how much it costs me. I took a deep breath. Anyway, so they did everything, fixed the issue, and came out to $1,660 for everything, because, you know, again, they replaced the water pump because the water pump was bad. That's one thing I didn't mention. The water pump kept running. Before I took it to them, I was having issues with the water pump. The water pump wouldn't shut. Like, there was no communication between the water pump and the DME. And so, there was, in simplest term, again, no communication with the water pump. DME telling the water pump when to shut off. So even after I shut off the car, and it took like another 5-10 minutes, and that water pump would keep running until it drains the battery. So I had to take the battery to AutoZone a couple of times, have it charged, because the water pump kept draining the battery. All right, so that too was an issue. But anyway, after paying that much, I went to pick up the car, and for some reason the crankcase vent valve that was on the car before, it was my fault when it broke. To replace it cost me about $55 to replace it. The shop that I took the car to, they told me to pick up the car. When I went to pick up the car, the crankcase vent valve was not there. So they told me come back the next day. So again, I said this in the previous video. Go and watch the previous video about, watch part 3 of the maintenance before modifications video, and then come and watch this video, and you'll get a bigger idea of what I'm saying, or better understanding. So again, that was something that I had to do. So I ordered a new one, replaced it myself, and the car was running fine. And then I started having air leak. So it was like one thing after another. You fix one thing, another thing broke. So I took it back to the shop. They did a smoke test, and it turns out, and when they looked underneath the car, the charge pipe on the driver's side connecting to the intercooler was completely disconnected. So that was causing a major air leak. So they put it back in, and you know, the air leak situation stopped. You know, the check engine light went away, and I was fine. It was fine for the time being, you know. So, and that's basically where I'm at right now. Everything on the car is fixed. Every major issue, mechanical issue, transmission, engine, it's, I would say 100%. No other issues that the car is throwing. No other codes. No lights on the dash. I'm gonna show you a little clip right here, right now. No lights on the dash. Car is clean, but there are little tiny cosmetic issues here and there that the previous is going to be the responsibility of the next, not the previous. What am I saying? The next owner is going to be responsible for that. For me, I can't put no more money into the car. I feel like this is a complete project. At this point, it's a complete project. The car is fast, a lot of performance parts, expensive parts, and I'm happy with that. I'm excited. I don't want anything else to do with the car. Not that I don't love the car, I like the car, but I need that. I need to recoup some of that money back. And there are other projects that I'm working on behind the scenes. People don't know about. I'm not going to say until I'm ready to reveal what that is, that I need to pay for and just complete. So the car has to be sold. Not that anything is wrong. Nothing is wrong. It's fixed. You know, again, it's a pet peeve of mine. I can't sell something that's broken or that I wouldn't want to drive myself. So I had to put all that money into this car. So in total, I put about over $5,000 in this car. Before I said I put about another $4,000 in the previous video, I was wrong. I put about $5,000 in total in this car. Again, you know, this was supposed to be a quick flip for me, but it didn't turn out that way. So anyway, sometimes that's how the game goes. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes you take a major L. I wouldn't call this a major L. I wouldn't even call this an L, because I am going to make my money back. So one way or the other, YouTube revenue, YouTube ad revenue, one way or the other, when I sell this car, I am going to make my money back. So I believe that concludes this video. You know, again, in total, including the purchase price of the car, maintenance and repair, parts, I'm about 9,000 and change, probably close to 10 into this car, and I'm selling it for about 11.5, 11, maybe even 10. I'll even take 10. You know, whoever wants this car, if you're interested, hit me up. My Instagram is going to be below. Everything I do on my cars, I usually do an update on Instagram before I even put it on YouTube like that. So yeah, that's how much I spend on this car. It's insane because I didn't want to do that. So that's how much this car cost me. So again, if you're interested in buying this car, hit me up on Instagram, send me a DM. We can work something out. The price is slightly negotiable, slightly. So if anybody interested, let me know. I don't see myself doing anything else to this car because I do not plan on keeping it. I'm going to leave a little bit of room for the next person to at least do something to the car. Maybe wrap it, change the color, put a front lip, side skirts, change the bumper, the rear bumper. That was something that I was going to do like I did in my previous project. I went full out on that car. Like I literally changed a lot of parts, a lot of things on that car, like literally transformed the look of the car. And that's what I wanted to do with this car. But the maintenance, because the previous owner did not keep up with the maintenance cost me so much that I couldn't do those things. I couldn't really like transform the look of the car, you know. So but this thing is a beast regardless. It's faster than my E92, I would tell you that. It's faster, and yeah. Anyway, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say much. Not say much. Anyway, that concludes this video, guys. Make sure if you enjoyed this content, if you enjoyed the build so far, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment, like the video, share the video. Follow me on Instagram, guys, and I will follow you back. Nobody's famous. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.